We're talking about the last, week or, last few days of news. I think starting off with the presidential debate. I had to work.
It was super presidential, and super debatey. I'd say those two words really, really typify what happened.
The president was there, and it did adhere to the format of a debate insofar as there were two guys shouting at each other for an hour and a half. I had to work this debate for my quote unquote job, and
Did they give you hazard pay for that? Was that?
This is the first time I felt like I should have asked for hazard pay. I was dreading it all day, and the minute it started, it was just horrible beyond,
worse.
And in fact worse than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be the most nationally humiliating piece of television in American history, and it was in fact worse than that. We've done worse things as a country, many worse things, but I don't think we've ever had, all of our pathologies just ground into the world's face like that before, like a handful of broken glass in the eye socket of humanity. It's like,
can I tell you something really, really sad? My dear mother, in advance of the debate, my poor dear mother told me, kind of excitedly, all of Greece apparently is going to stay up till 4 a.m. to watch this very momentous, important debate because of the danger. I know, seriously, because of the danger of Trump and how important for the world it is to defeat Trump. So the whole country is going to stay up late. I just felt so bad. I mean, imagine that. Imagine staying up till 4 a.m. for that.
Yeah, and I mean, this is like, as far as sort of global hegemons go, America's done terrible things. We've done things that are not so bad. I would say compared to like Genghis Khan or the British Empire, we're probably not that bad. There's been worse, but Jesus, am I sorry to the planet. This is our official Left Anchor apology that you have to deal with our bullshit. You have no choice. Everyone knows everything about American politics because what happens here in this declining jalopy country just matters so much. And I wish I could do something about it, but I can't.
No, I mean, embarrassing is a term for the debate. Obviously, much deeper apologies are necessary for kind of the actual violence of empire, both through imperialism and capitalism. But, usually in like a semi-functional empire, you have, talented liars who really use propaganda to convince people here and abroad that all the violence is necessary or virtuous or that there is like some rationale and that this is, there's some good effort to be made to kind of justify the abhorrent behavior. Now it's it's like a reality TV show farce, where, as you said, the emperor hasn't had clothes for a while, and boy, the emperor is really ugly to look at naked.
Yeah, and that maybe before we get into specifics, I think that demonstrates a point that I've sort of come to realize over the Trump years, which is that it is better to be hypocritical than it is to be an open tyrant. Yes. It's like, as you said, in all the days past, like the Obama years and so on, and in the, the days of William Pitt and fucking Winston Churchill and so on, they often did terrible things, but they also, at least pretended to believe, and I think most of them in their hearts, like sort of subscribed to some degree to a certain set of moral principles that were at odds with the empire as it functioned. And so that provided a window of leverage,
exactly.
a way that people could influence the people to stop being so bad. Like Gandhi, for example. If the British Empire had just been straight up Nazi, Gandhi would have just been killed. That would have been the end of it.
Yes.
There would have been no movement to, liberate India in that particular fashion. Nonviolence doesn't work against a completely ruthless and psychotic opponent. And I think, that to me is the difference between, Biden and Trump. You have Trump as a sort of just like completely sociopathic, no holds barred, doesn't give a shit about anything, versus a sort of like liberal imperialist, who does care about appearances. And as sad as it is to say, that distinction is quite a big one.
Yeah, it goes to, it's a running theme in terms of unmasking the nature of politics, even in things that are purportedly supposed to be largely unaffected by politics, like, say, the courts, right?
Yeah.
As we've said before, and we're going to get to Amy Barrett later in the episode, it matters quite a bit to have the pretense, the legal fiction, the need to articulate reasons through, your majority opinion, that justify, according to, public reason, the side you're taking, rather than just saying, we've got the numbers, let's just, do all the political things that our party endorsers want us to do. We don't have to give a rationale. We're, basically in a power struggle. Now, that power struggle is real anyway, but there is something quite different in having to, at least give lip service to democratic ideals. And there are actual constraints involved there. It's just that liberals want that to be all the constraints, and that liberals want that to, like, proceduralism to be all of the politics, as if politics and power could just vanish altogether. And so, so both of those views are dangerous. And so, similarly in, say, international relations, I wish I'd asked this of Daniel Bessner the other day. But, it's my understanding from the literature that, say, even countries like Turkey, they won't admit that they committed genocide against the Armenians or the Greeks. And the international community's kind of treatment of genocide as a moral evil and crimes against humanity as a legitimate thing to indict a whole nation and hold them responsible for is actually something that matters, even if the powers that be in that country want to get away with genocide, that they still feel pressure, and certain norms are established that do alter behavior of even the most kind of power-hungry authoritarian governments around the world. To just remove the need to justify things, however, which is what Trump basically does. To say that, like, I'm the person running, there's literally no platform for the Republicans this time. Like, there's no platform. I'm the platform.
Yeah.
We have not only no rule of law, it's rule by me. I'm the ruler. Who cares? Maybe I'll stick around, for 5 more terms. All of these things might be literally in service of very similar policies that, like, George W. Bush might have enacted or something, right? But there's something very different going on that, like, does speak to certain foundational things that could destabilize the whole republic, the whole empire in a way that, like, working through the channels to cover up your atrocities like the Bush administration did, as morally repugnant as that is, it's a different kind of problem, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the end of the preview, folks. If you want to hear the whole episode, you can go to patreon.com/leftanchor. Thanks for listening.